Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment. 32 teams, 32 days, and today we are talking about the Seattle Seahawks. And man, things are not looking good in Seattle. It's been an exodus of players, but the chance for the playoffs is still there. Can Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson combine both of their great powers and get something out of the 2018 football team? We're going to discuss it today, discuss this team's strengths, discuss this team's weaknesses, give you my statistical projections for some offensive players, give you my bold predictions for this football team, and then end this video with my official win-loss prediction for the Seattle Seahawks. So let's start by talking about their strengths, and we're going to start with a guy I just mentioned. That is their quarterback, Russell Wilson. For my money, he is definitely a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and I have him ranked about number 6 or number 7. The guy is consistent. He's a great leader, despite what some people in the Seahawks locker room might tell you. And he has, ever since he's entered the NFL, he's been one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the NFL, consistently getting his team to the playoffs. And obviously, he has a Super Bowl ring to go with it as well. I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan. I'm expecting more good play from him this season, although, and we're going to discuss this in a little bit, I think this may be one of his worst seasons yet, but still a very good season when it comes to being an NFL quarterback. We'll discuss that momentarily. Look at the next strength for this football team. I like the linebackers for this football team. They haven't left yet. Okay, so let's start with Bobby Wagner in the middle, at middle linebacker. For my money, he's the best middle linebacker in the league. I mean, obviously over the past 5-6 seasons, I think he may have made 4 or 5 Pro Bowls. He continues to make the All-Pro team, first team All-Pro. Everyone gets it. Bobby Wagner is an absolute beast, a coverage beast, a run-stuffing beast, an absolute animal, the leader on this defense, a leader that they sorely need now. I'm expecting more good play from Bobby Wagner this upcoming season. KJ Wright, who had a bit of a down year last year, but whenever he's on, he's a really good teammate for Bobby Wagner in the middle of this defense. And they also have Barkevious Mingo, who had a nice resurgence last season. Now, he's still not living up to his first round status as a former first round pick, but hey, he's an alright linebacker in this league. He's serviceable, and when you combine him with Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright, I like the linebackers in Seattle. Is definitely a strength for me. We move on to the weaknesses though for this football team, and we must start to me at the tight end position where we have problems. Ed Dickson is scheduled to be the #1 tight end in Seattle. I don't know what the problem is with NFL tight ends. I keep listing tight end as a weakness for NFL teams. Ed Dickson, come on, man, this guy's done. We've been talking about Ed Dickson, I think, over the past decade, and he's never really had a very good season. And we keep talking about Ed Dickson. He still has some good blocking ability. He can still catch the occasional ball, but he's not going to make any athletic plays that Russell Wilson needs him to make, because Russell Wilson will extend the pocket. He will be looking for tight ends that are still streaking down the field, but Ed Dickson is going to be panting. Okay, he's not going to be able to get open when Russell Wilson is trying to extend plays. So I'm not a big fan of Ed Dickson. They have Nick Vannett, okay, formerly out of Ohio State as well. He hasn't shown much. He hasn't shown much as a tight end in this league. I haven't seen much versatility, much excitement in terms of his play, so I don't like the tight ends right now in Seattle. Look at the offensive line. Again, yes, it is a weakness still for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, they traded for Dwayne Brown, the left tackle formerly of the Houston Texans, and I like that. So finally, the left tackle position is now filled. It is no longer a question mark for the Seattle Seahawks. We have no problems there. Now, what else do we have? We have Ethan Pocic, okay, who's the left guard, formerly out of Ohio State. A lot of Ohio State players on this team, and he hasn't played very well. Last season was not very impressive. I was still young, he can still improve, but I was not impressed last season. Justin Britt at center. Okay, he's a fine center. I thought he went down last year, but I'm okay with that. DJ Fluker, right guard, no. You know, this guy's been a complete disappointment. The LA Charger fans can tell you that. I don't like him there. And then Jermaine Ifedi at right tackle. He's been a disappointment as well, and they're getting George Font over on this side to help compete, because right now they're not happy with Jermaine Ifedi and what he's giving the Seattle Seahawks in training camp. So I don't like the offensive line still in Seattle, and I also don't like the running backs right now. Now, I'm encouraged. I mean, I don't think it's going to be too bad, but I still don't think it's a strength. Russell Wilson led this team in rushing yards last year with about 500-600 rushing yards. This is ridiculous. So what they had? They had a Rashad Penny, their first-round pick, a guy that no one expected to be a first-round pick. And how is he performing in training camp? How is he performing in the preseason? Not very well. He broke his finger. Chris Carson has been way better than him in terms of pass protection and everything that they want to see. So I don't like what you added. You still have Chris Carson. I know he didn't score a touchdown last year. Got 200 rushing yards. It didn't really impress me. So I don't know what to expect from this running back core, but I don't expect much. Maybe Rashad Penny is going to surprise me and others, but a lot of people, including me, felt he was not a first-round pick, and the Seattle Seahawks didn't care. They wanted to finally resolve their first round of their running back problem. I think they just reached on the guy in order to do it. Do not like the running backs in Seattle. So you know the positions. Look at the cornerback position. Now I'm not going to say it's a weakness, but I have my concerns. Byron Maxwell, he had a nice resurgence for this team. So I guess with this team, in this scheme, he's able to do okay for the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, fine. But obviously, we're going to miss Richard Sherman. I don't care what you say. We're going to miss Richard Sherman at this cornerback position. Can Justin Coleman continue to hold down the spot in the slot? Can Shaquille Griffin hold down Richard Sherman's old spot? That's what we're going to find out. Right now, I'm in the middle, right? It's not a weakness, but I have my concerns for sure. Look at the defensive line right now. Cliff Avrill's now gone. He didn't do anything last season anyway, but still that hurts. Deion Jordan is currently banged up. He finally was becoming the player we thought he was going to be last year, and then now he's banged up. He's having shin problems. May not be ready for week 1, so there are problems there. Kenny Clark, he's good. I like him. Jerron Reed, he's okay. Other than that, there's not really much to like on this defensive line. So a lot of questions in the safeties as well. Questions there as Earl Thomas refuses to play. He wants a deal or he wants to be traded. We're going to discuss him a little more in a second, but that's a problem. Now, Bradley McDougald, I like him. He's a little banged up right now, but looks like he's going to be back for week 1. That's fine. Other than that, there's nothing. So there's a lot of holes on this football team. So just think about that as we discuss their win-loss prediction in a little bit. Look at my statistical projections for the Seattle Seahawks. Let's start with quarterback Russell Wilson. 4,100 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and a 90.0 pass rating. Wow. So I'm expecting a statistical regression for Russell Wilson. He had 34 passing touchdowns last year, but 10 of those were to Jimmy Graham, who's no longer there. I want to say 8 of those or 7 of those were to Paul Richardson, who's no longer here. This is a problem, okay? Because right now we're relying on Tyler Lockett and other guys that we don't know much about to really be able to take the mantle at the wide receiver position and be consistent targets for Russell Wilson and those tight ends I mentioned earlier. I don't like that. I think Russell Wilson, although I think very much of him, think very highly of him, again, I think he's a top 7 quarterback in this league. With this offensive line, with these wide receivers outside of Doug Baldwin, I'm having my concerns about his statistical performance this upcoming season. Running back Chris Carson, 175 carries, 725 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So he didn't score last season. I have him scoring now with these 4 rushing touchdowns, but that's not very impressive. It may only be 3. It would surprise me, and I do think he will lead the pack. I think he will hold off Rashad Penny, but it would surprise me if Penny's better than I think, and then he ends up doing well. We just haven't seen much of Rashad Penny. Really, that's the problem with him. And then wide receiver Doug Baldwin, I'm expecting a huge year from him because we need it. We need a huge year from Doug Baldwin. I do not have faith in Tyler Lockett to stay healthy worth a damn. And if anyone does, you're a clown. You cannot rely on Tyler Lockett to do anything consistently when it comes to doing anything on the football field except for getting injured. So if you're expecting, or inconsistency, you can expect consistency from Tyler Lockett. So 95 catches, 1,200 yards, and 8 touchdowns for Doug Baldwin. A huge year that I think will get him a very nice recognition by the end of the year. So that's to move on to my bold predictions for this football team. And let's start with this. I think Earl Thomas will get traded in early September. I don't think they're going to wait until October. I don't think they're going to wait until the deadline. I think early into the year, probably after week 1, week 2, someone's free safety is going to go down, get injured. They're going to call the Seahawks. They're going to make a trade. They're going to make it happen. It could be the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe they don't even need an injury, right? The Cowboys and the Seahawks have been talking, but regardless, Earl Thomas is going to be traded. Okay, I'm going to predict it's going to be early September, but definitely by the trade deadline, he will be traded because the Seahawks have no interest in extending him, which is a surprise to me because, yes, he is getting older, but he is a leader for your football team, and y'all are just asking for trouble right now in Seattle. Bold prediction number 2, Doug Baldwin makes the All-Pro team. I think it's going to be second team All-Pro, not first team, because the first team is so hard to make with Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, and DeAndre Hopkins catching anything and everything. But I think he can make that second team All-Pro with the stat line that I mentioned earlier, 1,200 yards and 8 receiving touchdowns. Can even get double-digit receiving touchdowns with the way this wide receiver core is shaping in Seattle. And then bold prediction number 3, the Seahawks post a losing record. Look, I'm a fan of Russell Wilson, as I mentioned earlier. I'm a fan of Pete Carroll, as I mentioned earlier. But it just don't seem right anymore. Okay, Richard Sherman's gone, Cam Chancellor's gone, Earl Thomas is gonna be gone. The offensive line still having problems. The wide receivers aren't there. They're gonna miss Jimmy Graham, although he's not the Jimmy Graham he once was. He had 10 receiving touchdowns last year. You can't just go from that to Ed Dixon. You're going to have problems. Right now, my win-loss prediction for this football team, I'm gonna give y'all this 7-9 because I am such a big fan of Russell Wilson. I think it could go worst case scenario. Woo! I think he could be 5-11 for the Seattle Seahawks. At least 5. At least 5. I think Russell Wilson can provide 5 wins. Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin, that combination could provide 5 wins. Now, best case, I'm wrong. Russell Wilson is able to do some stuff. He's able to have some magic, but I say 9-7. I just don't see this being a 10-win team. I don't see it. And I wasn't impressed with the draft class. I don't think they brought anyone in that's very impressive. Their most impressive addition over the past year was Dwayne Brown, and that's not enough. So, I mean, I just don't see it. The magic is gone. They're rebuilding right now, or at least reloading in Seattle. It's obvious. Everyone gets it. Everyone understands it. It was a great run, but, you know, this season will be a missed playoff season for the Seattle Seahawks. It's 7-9 to me. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the 2018 Seattle Seahawks. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. I'll be back next time to discuss the Carolina Panthers. What will I say about them? This is my MJ, Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.